Welcome to the Team 7 podcast. My name's Logan, and along with me, I have my friends Asher and Zach. We are covering Naruto from start to finish. It's going to be quite the undertaking. We're ready for it. We're going through bit by bit, and we're just going to talk about it. I have been watching anime since I was in middle school, and believe that Asher's been watching a little bit, and then Zach is completely new. So we're just going to kind of talk about the difference between like what we're picking up as somebody who's rewatching it, somebody who's seen a little bit, and someone who has never seen an episode before now. And we're just going to get into it. So if you want to watch along with us, come on, we'd love that. But we'll see you on the other side. So let's get going. We watched episodes 1 through 5, which is basically just the intro to Naruto. We get to know who our characters are and kind of the world basis and stuff like that. So right out the gate, we see the demon fox, and we get a little bit of a backstory, and then we're thrown into the world of Naruto. So yeah, take us from there. What were you guys, what stood out just like at the beginning, this first episode, either of you?
The demon fox is scary, by the way. The first showing or viewing or whatever. I
Yeah.
think straight into episode 1, like by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, this is an emotional roller coaster. There's so
Yeah.
much packed into that episode.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's introduce each other. So this is Asher talking now, or I'm Logan.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm Asher.
And
And
then
I'm
we
Zach.
I completely forgot to introduce you guys. But yeah, so Demon Fox, what do you think, Zach? This is your first time going through. What do you think?
So, I mean, in the first episode, I kind of connected that, they obviously, in the first 5 episodes, he figures that out. But like in the first time I saw that, I kind of had a thought that like that had something to do with the main character, Naruto. And my initial thought, because of what Asher said, I mean, it is scary. It's like, dude, is this main character going to turn into like the main villain? Like, is this a villain's origin story? I have no clue, but I feel like if that's the case, it wouldn't surprise me. But also, I feel like maybe he could tame it in some way, and also like use it, for good.
Okay,
And
well that's still a possibility, right? I mean, this could be like he could turn into a villain later. Like I have no idea. And just to
I don't either.
give the backstory of how much I watched, I think I kind of went through season 1 and season 2, but I
Okay.
don't remember hardly anything. It was over a year ago. Like as I was watching episodes 1 through 5, I was like, "Oh, okay, I remember that." But I couldn't tell you anything other than kind of that first episode, and then I know one other scenario that they're in later that I won't talk about because I don't want to ruin it for Zach. But it's not like it wouldn't be some grand spoiler or anything either. So
Yeah. So episode 1, we've got the team, or sorry, the team's not actually together yet. We've just got Naruto, and he's trying to pass. He's obviously not a good ninja, and trying to get through graduation at the academy. Moving forward, we can, we're gonna jump around. I just kind of want to keep going through what we watched. Next episode 2, we saw My Name is Konohamaru, and we're introduced to a friend of Naruto's, or somebody he meets. And that episode, while it is canon, it felt really, even just rewatching it, I don't even know how many times I've rewatched the beginning of Naruto, like just somehow, like that's been the episodes I've watched the most, because I'll be like, I'll do a rewatch and then won't finish it. But these episodes I know very well, and that one just always feels like so much filler. Like it just
like out of
doesn't
place.
feel, yeah, like
Yeah.
I it's world building, I get that, but overall it's just a little like boring. Like I'm
Hey,
ready to get going.
to clarify really quickly, you're caught up, right? Like
Yeah,
you've
like I have watched all of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden through like 3 times total now.
Wow.
dang.
I'm not a like expert by any means. There's so many people that know so much about Naruto that I don't. So I don't want to, come saying that. But I have spent a fair amount of time watching this series and I really love it. I'm up to date on Boruto, which is the next series after Shippuden. And yeah, I'll leave my thoughts out for that another time. But yeah, so I've watched all of
Okay.
it. Yeah. So yeah, Zach, I want to talk about that. So episode 2, what were your impressions? You get a lot of I think it's interesting. Um Knowing how it ends and when it ends, like year wise in the real world. uh Naruto goes through a transformation silently because the animation style it's not completely changed, but the way the animation is done progresses and gets better. So whenever you watch the end of Shippuden, it animation wise looks a lot better. But these early episodes, I love the way it looks. But I think you get a lot of Japanese like culture references and stuff in
Right.
the world that I may not necessarily fully understand, but it's just nice to see. Extremely nostalgic for me. What how does that come off to you?
Yeah. So 2 points that I would make on those first couple episodes is I haven't seen a ton of anime. Specifically, this I haven't seen any of. I've watched, some Pokemon growing up, Dragon Ball, Trigun. Um, so not like a ton of like the main ones, but something I do love with all my heart is everything Studio Ghibli puts out.
Yes.
And so that was like something that when I saw the first episode, I was like, I appreciate this because I know at least what Studio Ghibli did in the earlier days to get that look and to, you know, develop a style. I could appreciate that from the get-go. Even in like the first scene with the you guys call it a dragon fox?
Demon Fox is what
Demon
the
fox.
sub says. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of imagery that I know, especially for the time setting it was when they started. Like it was, I'm sure it was super groundbreaking for even Japanese animation, right? And
Yeah, this
so,
was 2002, I believe. Maybe even a
okay,
little earlier.
for some reason
2002.
I thought it, or for some reason I thought it started earlier. But
I believe the manga came out. Sorry, I believe the manga came out in around 2000.
okay, well, still, I mean that's still early years for a lot of, you know, what you see today. Even like Studio Ghibli with Earwig and the Witch, like it's transitioning to more of like a Pixar style 3D look, and people have their thoughts there. But you know, like I said, straight out the gate, I was like, I appreciate the art that I'm about to embark on, at least. I
Mhm.
might, have different feelings about the story, which so far, I'm a fan of. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like in those first 2 episodes, the one thing I got out of it was this dude is a punk. Like he is obviously going to, develop how to be mature
Yeah,
in some way.
yeah,
And you see a turning point a little bit in those first 5 episodes, but I feel like they did a really good job of being like, you're gonna love this kid, but also get very annoyed by him. Which I did, because I'm a dad, and so even in that moment, it's like, dude, this kid would drive me nuts. But
yeah,
also, I love. I
yeah.
feel like he's like, you know, he's someone that I'm able to like follow along with, which they did a great job with that. So
Mm,
Yeah, I think the
yeah.
show endears you to him like pretty quickly and easily. but I was in the same boat. Even like I remember the first time I watched these few episodes, I was like, I like everyone but this character right now.
Right, right.
Yeah. I think that that's such an interesting thought because they obviously wanted the world does not like Naruto. And
Mhm.
I feel like they put you in the shoes of the world instead
Yeah.
of Naruto's shoes.
And by the
And
world, you mean the village, right? Like the people
yeah,
around him.
yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody just outcasting him and not wanting to talk to him. And it's super interesting the like basic gag order that they had. I don't know if you guys um caught on to that with the gag order.
Is that where they're
Um
not supposed to
talk
mention
about
it to him?
yeah, like they
Yeah.
were trying to basically keep Naruto from knowing that the nine-tailed fox is what we'll find out his name is actually um for most of the show. And sorry, I just blanked.
No, that
Basically,
like lives inside of him,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
that is inside of him, sealed inside of him. And goodness gracious, I hate that I have done that.
You're
Well,
good.
can I just speak into
Yeah,
that
go
too? From
ahead.
what I noticed is, I kind of had the thought process while that was being developed in those first 5 episodes, and I think it's episode 4 where we figure that out, right? Where it's kind of discovered that there is this gag order to
I
you
think it
know
may have been
keep it from.
said. Yeah, it's definitely sometime in the first 5 episodes. I just can't remember
Yeah, I can't remember the
when.
episode exactly,
Maybe
but
four.
all that to say, my initial thought, and this is just prediction mode, who knows, you know, what is actually going to turn of it. But my prediction for that is honestly because he's such a punk, they don't want him to turn into something that's going to be a threat to them. But
Hmm.
also, you know, that started probably when he was a kid, right? Like when he was a baby.
Mm.
So I don't know. I feel like the what's the leader of the village's name? What's his title?
That's the third Hokage.
The Hokage. I feel like he's just wise, and just saying like, let's just keep this under wraps, which is essentially what every old wise man does. I mean, that's what Dumbledore did in Harry Potter. Like he was like,
Ooh.
don't
Yeah.
tell this kid he's a wizard until it's time to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out for him. But
Yeah.
But then I mean, to your point about Dumbledore, he kind of walked back, or not walked back, but I guess in his perspective of the over the course of his life, he was like, I definitely made some mistakes on communication, essentially, right?
sure.
So that really interests me too, because whenever I see that like older, wiser character in anything, I'm like, okay, how are they going to screw this up?
Right.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, they're kind of doing like whatever the world most directly around them is really requiring of them, at least in their mind. So it's not like a, I don't know. It's not,
Malicious thing.
yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
exactly the
Yeah.
word I was trying to think of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting premise. I like that Naruto wastes no time with the exception of two, I guess, which, is still canon, so we gotta watch it. But yeah, we kind of get thrown into they graduate, they get a team, and they're starting to work together, and you kind of get like the first like feel of like combat in Naruto, like what that's gonna be like. And we see the team work on a a mission together, and trying to think of what else happens. Um,
I feel like,
basically
well,
they find like teamwork there.
yeah,
Mhm.
like episode 4 and 5 kind of felt like one long episode to
Mm.
me, which was kind of cool. But except where he gets poked in the booty hole. But
A
it was
thousand
just
years of death.
that didn't age well, I guess.
Whoa.
Nor
Yeah.
was it fine ever back in the early thousands or whatever. But yeah, I
Yeah.
really enjoyed those and kind of seeing like is it Kakashi? Is that
Yeah.
the new okay. And will you just to establish some like terms and stuff for people who are probably like jumping into it for the first time. What is Kakashi's title? Just Sensei?
Yeah, they're always gonna refer to him as Kakashi Sensei.
Is he also a Jonin?
Yeah, he's a Jonin.
Okay.
So there's a few ranks that this isn't in any way a spoiler, but
Right.
there's Genin, which is like junior ninja, what's called junior ninja in the first episodes. And that's basically right out of the academy.
Mhm.
And then you can pass certain tests and meet different requirements, whatever is necessary. And then there's Genin, like I said, then there's Chunin, and then there's Jonin. And there's a few other things that will be introduced to down the line, but for right now, that's the main hierarchy, and that hierarchy does stay true for the entire series. That
Okay.
Genin, Jonin, Genin, Chunin, Jonin is a kind of rank of order.
Cool. There's going to be like a test at the end, so we have to
Yeah,
memorize all
Season recap.
this.
So, yeah, I wanted to talk about like the 1,000 Years of Death, kind of a little bit, just like that, the weird stuff like that, like like the sexy jutsu, that we see. I think in the first episode, we see it basically right
Yes.
out the gate,
Can I
and something
just
that I think. Go ahead.
can I just interrupt with the sexy jutsu? My biggest question, okay, I mentioned that I watched Dragon Ball at the start, right? What's up with the nosebleeds?
I can't believe you brought that up. I
Like,
can't believe you brought that up. That's literally what I was getting at.
that's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
Because
Thanks.
I've seen some hot girls before, and my nose has never bled.
Yeah, but
No,
I
honestly,
looked this up.
the blood kind of travels elsewhere, I'd say.
Elsewhere.
Ooh.
It's
Right?
so it's you guys are kind of hitting all around it. So I looked it up because I
Oh.
was interested in this and was like, why in the world? Why is this the case? And I only ever see it in anime, really.
Yeah.
So basically they want to, it's a generalization. They want to convey the excitement without being grotesque because
Mm.
it needs to go on TV, and it's also obviously the original audience of this is like children.
Hmm.
So and then Naruto like does a great job of growing with its audience. And at the beginning, and actually it's the whole way through, um they want to convey that without it being grotesque, so they show blood basically for that same reason of like blood goes crazy, and they have an exaggerated response, which would be the nosebleed,
Hmm.
to convey that same sort of like inappropriate, you know, growing or something.
So
It's just an
essentially,
alternative to like make it not as like on the nose as to what's happening.
On the
More
nose.
digestible for what's happening, or yeah, more digestible for children who are watching to understand, like, oh, they like that, but it's not like, you know, overly pointed.
so essentially we can call the top
Stop.
essentially we can call the top seats at a concert the boner section.
Yes. Yeah, we
There you
definitely
go.
can.
I
Okay.
Yeah.
love that.
It's making sense now.
So yeah, that was one of my points. I love that. Basically the nosebleeds are something that um I've really only ever seen in anime, and I think that
Yeah.
it's just like a cultural thing if I had to guess.
Uh,
But
I just wanted to say real quick,
yeah.
like as soon as he did the sexy jutsu or performed the sexy jutsu, that's when I knew that I would love the show.
Yeah.
Because I mean, everything up to that point, I was like, okay, this is cool exposition. They're kind of going back and forth. There's a little mystery to it, and then when that happened, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
this is fantastic
yeah.
and
Well,
hilarious.
I'm excited to get into the next part then, because not to jump too far ahead, but the next episode will be episodes 6 through 11 of Naruto. So if you would like to watch along with us and try to keep up to date, we're going to be watching 6 through 11. We get kind of thrown right into it. I don't know if you guys stuck around and watched the like next episode preview at the end of the episodes. If you're wanting to kind of get a edge on what's happening without just watching ahead and cheating, then you can do that. They go on a mission. It's a great arc, and I'm really excited to watch it with you guys and talk about it, because I think that this next arc will really determine, if you're into it, you're going to be into it from this arc. You don't
Exciting.
have to wait super long to really get a good feel on what the show is going to be about and how it's going to go. Not
I'm
that
excited too because I
telling,
don't.
but yeah.
Sorry, I don't remember that specific mission. The thing I'm thinking of is this is not a spoiler, but it's some sort of a trial later on.
Yeah.
That's the part that I remember. But this particular mission, I'm trying to think of what it actually is, and I skipped the like here's what's coming in episode 6
Okay.
because I knew we would do some like prediction type things.
Yeah, okay. That's great.
And I was like, I don't remember, so I'll just skip this.
Yeah, I really, just thinking about it, I just wish that I could go back and not have the like knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Like I already know, obviously. So that mystery and um guessing is is lost now. But
You're
I'm
kind of a
interested to hear.
god. You're kind of a god in this situation. Like
I don't know.
seen everything from beginning to end, and you're just wanting to experience it with me and Zach.
Low
There's something
God.
beautiful about that.
I don't want to continue down that analogy, but yeah.
Can't spell analogy without.
Of,
Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
so so let's talk about that. Predictions next. What do you guys think is going to happen? What do you hope happens? What are your impressions?
I'll give you a real basic thing because I love that there's some world building, but not too much world building in these first 5 episodes. I really want to know when they make a clone of themselves and it becomes a piece of wood or a log.
Mm.
Where does the log come from? Like, is that from some other part of the planet and it just happened? Like, they kind of raise it up out of nowhere. And then also with the clones, since they are like tangible, like things you can touch and they can fight, are they a hive mind? Those are 2 of my bigger questions.
I feel like I'm gonna just give my perspective because I have no clue either, and I know Logan's gonna essentially just tell us. I'm not gonna tell you.
I won't. Yeah, we'll see. Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay.
But my prediction, and I don't even know if we even figure this out ever, but I feel like it's mainly just so they're ninjas, right? Like that's what they're classified as. That's what
Yeah.
they're training to be, as ninjas. I
Yeah.
feel like it's just some type of like magical illusion. Like I don't feel like it's real. But I guess also it does kind of interact with the world though. So I
Yeah,
don't.
that's what's confusing to me, that I'm like, because I kind of thought the same thing, but then I guess Sakura at one point says like, oh, they're actually all like tangible. I don't know how she says it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, they bring that up a few times because there's
Okay.
a difference. So I don't think that this is going to make your experience any worse. And that's my goal
Okay.
here, is
Okay.
to not give away anything or make the experience worse. So there are shadow clones, and then there are
Like a
like
true clone or
mirror
something.
clone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, and I believe that it's
Hmm.
Aruka Sensei in the first episode that whenever Naruto like is fighting Mizuki, and he does the multiple shadow clone jutsu, and there's a ton of them. He says something along the lines of they're not mirrors, they're actual clones. So you can
Oh
have
yeah.
like a mirror that is basically an illusion at that point. Something is going to go through it if it's thrown, but a shadow clone, and a lot of people, most ninjas can only make like one. But Naruto is different, and we'll get there. But
Which
Mm.
explains
they
why everyone's
message that
shocked.
yes, because it's a forbidden jutsu for one, so it's
Ah,
not taught, and that's what he learns in that scroll at the beginning
I
in the
forgot
first
that they
episode.
said that it's forbidden too.
Yeah, so
That
like
seems
this isn't
important.
just like known because it's not taught because there was a lot of like problems with it, I would assume. So,
Mm.
um,
hmm.
there's that aspect. So he knows a forbidden jutsu, and then he also is able to execute it, which is interesting to people because it's a really high level jutsu. So
But it's not
he
kind of
says
determined that he's doing that on purpose, though. It feels like it's just kind of like second nature to him.
to do that. Yeah, yes. And I don't really know, somebody who's watching may know, I don't really know how to like explain that. Like how he picked up that jutsu so quickly. If the scroll, I assume, just had like some sort of knowledge that like he was able to pick that up very easily. The scroll had to be like the catalyst there, is my point.
Mm.
So yes, there's the mirror clones, there's shadow clones, and he's able to make a ton of them. The substitution jutsu that you brought up a little bit ago, Asher. That is, I don't know how to explain that either. The
Okay.
log comes from somewhere. It is never, to my knowledge, it is never directly explained where that comes from. You do, or you will notice later on that like they're the hidden leaf, so like they're using something that would be leaf based, or like
Oh.
wood. And then there are other options out there for that. So that'll make more sense down the
Ah,
road.
Okay.
But
can I
it's
ask a
something that's
question?
taught is my last point. Go ahead.
Okay.
And then I want to answer all these questions as much
Yeah,
as I
this is
can.
fun.
And I also wanted to invite whoever's watching to like, I'm not going to be offended. If you know more than me in Naruto, good on you. I
No,
would
dude, I
love
feel
it.
like
Please, like tell me what I want, if I say it wrong or don't know, tell me. So want to
All
answer your
right.
questions, but if other people want to answer them too, great.
after a while we'll have a lore expert who's like, fact checking us, so that'll be fun.
For sure. So I guess it's mainly not a question because I feel like it's going to be a spoiler, but I'm going to make a prediction that I feel like maybe with the little headband thing, there's a little leaf on it. So I feel like they might be more leaf clone prone, and then maybe other clans or villages maybe are fire or whatever, and that's kind of they summon a piece of coal or whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
That
Getting into like Avatar territory a little bit, like the Four Nations, is that right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. In due time, you will definitely get your answer. If that's a thing or not. You'll definitely get your answer.
I'll
Um,
I'll say
go
a
ahead.
couple of things that I related to as well. Um, the motivation for Naruto via ramen, very
Yeah.
very relatable. And I
His
love
team
Bro.
introduction is great.
yeah, that was like I was just recounting that to Lindsay, who is like that's my wife by the way, and she is not interested in anime whatsoever, and has no idea what I'm talking about. But when they first meet Kakashi and he's like, "What do you love? What do you hate?" He talks about ramen. He's like, "I love trying all different kinds. I love making the instant ramen, but I hate waiting 3 minutes for it." I was like, anyone who's ever had ramen is right there with you. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There's
So very
something about
relatable.
there's something about anime ramen too
Mm.
that just I have to eat it that day
Yeah.
if I see it. Anytime I watch Ponyo and they're like making that ramen in the in the house on the hill,
What a great movie.
I'm like, Taylor, it's ramen night, right? Like we're doing ramen. And when I watched this episode, it happened 3 different times. And I was like, I mean, there's no way of getting around that. Like ramen is dinner today.
Yeah.
It's just so good, man.
I love that. I think that Naruto for me, there's like a lot of different things that come to mind just like via association. Ramen being one. Another one is the intros and outros. I go to my childhood immediately. I mean,
Mm,
I turned on episode 1, and episode 1's a little different because it's got the intro. It doesn't actually like play the animated intro. It plays the intro song with animation and like telling more of the story so that they get more time out of it. I assume it's great. But in episode 2 and beyond, we get like that 90-second opening, get that 90-second closing, and those songs that are played in that time just send me, like, I go to nostalgia lane and I live there for as
Mm.
long as I can. And those songs, man, I love them. I think that they're great.
yeah.
I'm interested to like hear ones that I've forgotten because there's just so many.
I will
So
say it's definitely got a comforting like 90s vibe to it. Like
Hmm.
yeah.
or and it's not I guess early 2000s because that's when it started, but it's got that like pre 2005 feel to it
Yeah.
that I've not seen them, right? But I went back to my childhood in a
Yeah.
certain way of like this makes me feel like life is careless. Like
Mhm.
it just felt so good to hear
Yeah.
the music and this, and I was like, I'm so excited to see what's next.
I love that. Makes
Yeah,
me happy.
I think so. This happened to me with another podcast that I've listened to where they reviewed the album Bon Iver, Bon Iver. Are you all familiar with Bon
Yeah.
Iver at all?
Yeah.
So
Favorite band in existence, if I'm
is
being
it
honest.
truly?
And
Yes.
Zach's the one who introduced me to them or
No
him.
way. Oh man. So
Dude,
that
Justin Vernon is a god among men.
that particular album I had never listened to until 2020, middle of the
Whoa.
pandemic. Yeah, which is weird because I feel like I've heard a lot of music and a lot of good music.
Yeah.
Um, and that was what 2011 or 2009 or something. But anyway, I had just never really checked out any of his full albums, and I listened to that one and like tears.
Yeah,
Certain
bro.
songs, he's speaking gibberish half the time, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's a
Still to
wild,
this day.
yeah,
New stuff too.
right. Working
He
with
makes
Kanye,
up words all the
whatever.
times.
Yeah, but there was something about the sounds, the chord progressions, like everything about that album that I was like, I don't know why I'm having a full physiological response to this.
Right.
And that happened to me the first time I heard Wind, which is like the end credits song for these first few
That
Yeah.
episodes or
song,
first season. It's like, and
yeah.
the singing, I'm going to be honest, the singing to me feels a little bit goofy on certain words and stuff, and it doesn't matter. There's something about the way that song is put together that's like, it's too much for my brain and my mind and my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That song, that close the season 1, part 1, I believe. I think that they switch halfway through. The ending credits song, Wind, is my all-time favorite. I can't get enough of it. Listen to it in the car. Like it just, I don't know. It's a great song. I
Yeah.
enjoy it independent of Naruto.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's awesome. It's definitely special for sure. Every time I would listen to it, I think that's what made me feel what I was saying before is like it just kind of flooded me with this emotion of like something was special about it for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. I think often about like what and this is just purely idealizing it and a little embarrassing to admit, but like what was Japan like at this time?
Mm,
Like what was it like to like sit down and watch Naruto like week in and week out on TV? Like I know what that was like watching it on Cartoon Network as a kid, but we also didn't get it until like 2006, 2005. So I mean that's a big gap of time that I think culture kind of changed, especially culture was very different um here in 2006 versus Japan, I'm sure. So here meaning the United States of America. But yeah, I think about that a lot. I think about what it would be like to have grown up with it there, and if it means the same like to people there, or if the Western popularization of it has kind of diminished. I don't know. I don't know if we'll
Yeah,
ever know.
that's a
Bro,
good
that's a cool
question.
thought. Like future technology, or if, fantasy technology of like transporting to some other part, like time travel or whatever, and like
Yeah.
being somebody else in some kind of way. That's what I would do. It would be like 2002 Japan, just got off of work, going home to the kids, getting some ramen on the way home, and we're watching the new episode of Naruto.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun time to me.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's an intriguing thought for sure. So it looks like we're, just about out of time. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to touch on before we, head out to watch our next batch, or
Well, do you want to, rather than like end it, do you want to take a quick break and then talk a little more?
we can definitely do that.
What do you
I'm
think?
down with whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
Take a
I
quick
could,
break for
because
sponsors.
I want to talk about that freaking kid, the Hokage's grandson.
Okay. Yeah.
Konohanaru?
So let's go ahead and just cut it here,
Okay.
and we can just jump back in. All right, so we took a little bit of a break. We're still talking about episodes 1 through 5, doing a little bit of a watch along, talking through it. I know that before we broke, Zach had brought up, I believe maybe a character that's really annoying you. Do you want to talk about him? You want to what's the deal?
Yeah, like
First of all, who
I
is it? Let's talk about who it is.
I don't even remember his name. It's something Maharu. What'd you say?
Konohamaru?
Konohamaru.
Konohamaru. Yeah, the Hokage's grandson.
Yeah.
Don't like him. Not a fan. And the reason
Yeah.
why, eh, maybe he'll grow on me, but I just like I was like I already talked about how Naruto was a little,
Mm.
annoying at times, but I feel like that kid's giving Naruto a run for his money, so
Mm.
he's he's doing the same for me. And I'll just say that. Like I don't know. I mean, I hope he grows on me. I don't want to dislike any character. I even talked to Logan before we even started this podcast in conception about like how a modern take on Sakura is like she's pointless. I don't want to have that opinion on any character, and
Mhm.
quite frankly, to whoever hates Sakura, like, what's your deal? Like,
Yeah,
she's
you can
great.
piss off.
Yeah, bye. I'm just kidding. Listen along. Maybe you'll like her now. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that, Sakura, she gets a lot of hate, and I'm definitely not a Sakura lover. I
Sure.
don't think that her character is super interesting, but I think that it's like just that. Like, I think that like she adds when she needs to, especially
Yeah.
down the road. Um, but show's not named Sakura,
Nope.
and she is vital. But yeah, I don't know.
Hey, she is. And I've got hot takes on Sakura, maybe hot takes for misogynists. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm not calling you all that. First of all, Sakura does not have a big forehead.
So
Second
She
of all,
did.
I will say actually I may get one of my books to like point this out. This is really annoying and snobby of me. But I also I'm currently collecting all of the manga.
oh, okay.
I literally don't know how it's said, but in the early issues, Kishimoto, the man who like created Naruto. He's got like in between chapters, he's got like other drawings, like conceptual drawings and stuff that are awesome to look at, and then like little notes that like here's like the first drawing I ever did of Sakura. I will say in the manga, her forehead is much more prominent. Yeah.
Mm,
And it's more obvious. And Naruto looks different. Everybody looks different. It's drawn again. And then it's drawn, for every single frame. So they're trying to take like that one comic book manga like page and then animate all the pieces in between those squares. So you get some wild, wonky frames that we can find that are hilarious, like Naruto frames. That I don't even know how got past quality assurance, but I love it, and it's just like a gem of like OG Naruto.
Hmm.
And once we get into some of the famous ones, I'll make sure to look up a list because I've seen it quite a few, but I don't remember them right off the top of my head. I've seen a few of Sasuke and Naruto where they just look wild. But yeah, so that maybe gives a little bit more context as to why they're saying like that she's got a big forehead, but she's not really drawn that way, which I assume would be to make the audience like her more.
yeah.
But
maybe. I mean, it definitely comes across to me as like just a general, middle school age, anybody, boy or girl having like self-esteem issues, because we've all been in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I guess. But
some of us are still there.
Yeah, same. My humor level is still kind of in 7th grade, I think. But I relate most to Sakura, I think, just because of the way she's like talking to herself in her head. There's always that kind of chalkboard, in the frame where she's like, here's what's happening in real life, but in my head, like there's all this going on. And I really enjoy that about her. So I might be the biggest Sakura stan in the podcast or in the listenership. I don't know.
That's amazing. Love that.
I don't like her weird like dress tunic thing. I think I did want to talk about fashion just a little bit, which we do not have to go down this rabbit hole because Zach, I know you're about to talk, but I like kind of analyzing some of the fashion things that are happening too. But please continue.
Remember that because I want to come back to it.
Okay, cool.
Honestly, we can go there. I was going to go a different direction, but I can bring it up afterwards because I want to talk about fashion as well.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Let's dive into fashion.
We need a soundbite right there. A splash or something.
All right, so tell me about it.
Do you all have let's maybe put in the frame of a particular character, like do you all have a favorite like get up for any particular character? Because I think Kakashi is mine.
I think that a lot of people would agree with you.
Yeah.
Zach, I want to hear yours before I don't even know yet. I'm not holding anything back.
Yeah.
Honestly, and this might be cliche, but of the characters I've seen so far, my favorite outfit is Naruto. I just feel like he's got like, even aside from like all his school friends and stuff, and like there's some kind of like not uniform, but like it's similar in a lot of ways. But I'm a big fan of the orange. I mean, I feel like the way he was designed was, in my opinion, in the first 5 episodes at least, the best. But I do appreciate Kakashi. I do. I think what's the third member that we haven't talked about? We've talked about Sakura, Sasuke. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, in just a quick search, love Sasuke in a lot of ways, especially his design. But I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me in that way. Naruto, my little man right here. He takes the cake on design for me so far.
I just realized that's what he's doing in your figurine, right? For some reason, I thought it was this.
No, it's
I
like a
don't know
little
why.
fist. He's doing
Oh, okay. Okay. You,
boing.
Yeah, I
to
thought
give
he was
another.
saluting too.
Oh yeah. To give another perspective, I think if he was a character that I saw on his own, absolutely great. Next to Sasuke and Sakura, I hate the orange though. Like I can't
Mm.
stand it. I don't like the color just in general, but I do see the benefit of having him in orange where a lot of other characters are not, wearing anything close to that like bold because it does kind of set him apart, I guess. And he is sort of the black sheep of the village and everything.
I think
Um,
that that's on purpose.
yeah, for
If I had
sure.
to guess.
But it clashes so much. And coming from someone who plays a game like Destiny 2, here's where my nerdy side will come out. The fashion side of that game is like really important to a lot of players. And I was never like that before. That's like a first person shooter game. Look it up if you haven't heard of it, I guess. But there's a lot of like ways you can make your appearance very just cool looking. And I think that Naruto just doesn't look so great. And before you add to it, Logan, I think Eno is also someone who I think has a cool like fashion going on, but a lot of that like mummy rap stuff, and they're all doing that. A lot of them are doing that. And I'm a little confused on that. Is that like an exercise tape sort of situation?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't really know. I was this is so dumb. On the Naruto subreddit, I saw today somebody just asked like why why is everybody wearing like armor but basically or something like clothing and then
Mm.
like you've got who's just like wearing like a crop top and it's like what are we doing here?
It's a
I
cool
don't
look though. I
really
like the look.
Yeah, I don't really know like what that tape is for. I assume for you know some sort of defense. But I don't know, it's really weird.
Yeah.
um hmm. So I really like it's tough because out of the first 5 episodes, if I just only take those, my favorite design is the third Hokage. But
Mm.
Mm.
it's because I'm so biased.
Yeah.
I really like the character. Design wise, I think that Naruto with his green goggles is something that I'm highly nostalgic over now. So I think it looks sweet. I like Aruka Sensei's design. I like that. Um, just like just the ponytail and the headband, just like quintessential tuning. I like it. I think
Yeah.
that
Simple.
he looks great. Yeah. I mean, based off the first 5 episodes, I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat as Zach. I think that Sasuke's design's cool. And I really like Sasuke. And whenever I was a kid watching this, I went back and forth like all the time. Like, who do I like more? Naruto, Sasuke, blah blah blah. Now it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, the show's
Love
named
that.
Naruto, but yeah, I think that they go great places with his design. But Naruto, I mean, he's iconic. So,
I would just
um,
say with what you're saying too of like the Hokage, the third Hokage is the one that is present in these first episodes, and his hat is I feel like iconic already. Like it's kind of it's kind of got that traditional Japanese, vibe to it, but then it's got the like drapes going down, um, which I appreciate fully. I agree with you, Logan. But back to my original point, his grandson's design. He's
yeah, it's
wearing
pretty
he's wearing like a
lackluster.
metal he's wearing like a metal helmet with like
His hair
a
coming off the back.
handle that happens to be his hair. Like
Yeah.
if anyone wanted to grab something, like that's like the most sensitive part. Like just pull all my hair if you want to. What are
Yeah.
we doing? I don't know.
Oh man, Konohamaru is not a
Not
great
great.
character. And it's not because it's like he just isn't a big deal in the
Okay.
show.
Hey, that makes
Um
me feel better. I'll say
and
that.
and I think that maybe these first episodes, looking back at it, I think that maybe the first episodes, it's almost like they didn't know what it would become. And by the time the anime came out, the manga was, a good amount further. But a lot of times these animes, they may not make it, and the manga will go on, but
Mm,
the anime just didn't do as well or whatever, and it gets canned. And I think a lot of times they just kind of make a decision for the episode and then fix it later down the road. And Konohamaru gets a lot of character development later, and he's great. But for the time being, he's just a kid. So
yeah.
Sure. Just
He
an
seems
annoying
like
little
a
punk.
he seems like a plot piece so far, maybe to show Naruto that he's not the only one who feels the way he feels or something like that. I think the teacher side of me really appreciates that relationship. And with that said, it doesn't make it any less annoying. Like the entire episode 2 is just, other than the hilarity of sexy jutsu, um, it's just not incredible, I think.
No, for sure.
So overall, we get the intro to Naruto, we get some world building, they get assigned a team, it's Kakashi, then we have Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, and that's team 7.
Hmm.
And then they have their first mission. We see at the end that Kakashi passes them, and they're moving on, they're getting now, they're ready to take on missions. And that's what we're getting into next. So that's exciting. I can't wait to get going on it. But out of this first like little set of episodes, pretty digestible, I'd say. It's
Hmm.
not like just world overload, which a lot of anime just you get thrown right in. And I think this does a good job of kind of like introducing you and then not making you wait around to show you what it's about though.
Yeah.
So um yeah. I don't know if I really had anywhere to say. I just wanted to like kind of recap like where we were at um and what we were going to be doing next. So, do you guys like have any other like talking points or anything like that? I ran through all my notes. So,
No,
No,
you're
you
good.
get I go ahead.
I was just gonna say with what you were saying, setting up the next episode for this at least, I'm just excited to see them like explore, go on some adventures, get out of the village, and not for like some specific team building assignment. Um, I'm just excited to see more of the world, and I feel like that just supports exactly what you said. It wasn't like we got like 7 different villages that we've got to already like predict like what's happening next. It's just
Mm.
kind of like this is the spot, these are the people, and learn to love them, and we're gonna see where we go from there. Which I feel like with what you said, that is a hard thing to do, and I feel like they did it very elegantly and makes me in 5 episodes it makes me want more of what's next. So
that's good. I want that. I don't want to apply pressure, but it's just been on the back of my mind of like, there's a scenario that they don't like it. There's a scenario that we're getting into it and we're recording the podcast, and it's just like it really hidden for me. So I love to hear that.
Yeah, I think where you mentioned that there's a balance between like the world building versus kind of, character development and stuff like that. There's not so much of that Dragon Ball Z like take a whole episode to explain how this beam works that I'm about to shoot at somebody.
Yeah.
They do stuff like that, but it's really quick. Like I remember like Sasuke takes an aside while he's hiding under the bushes to talk about the shadow clone jutsu or something.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not too much. Like there's some good like fun and like exposition that sort of moves the story forward without just being like, oh, we're stuck here for a whole episode or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just some kind of like inner monologue, like
Mhm.
soliloquy that's not just like a whole episode of filler that's just like, you know, why did I just spend 30 minutes on this one point? I appreciate that about it for sure.
Yeah, I think they do a good job of using, like, even in episode 2 with Konohamaru, they used him to explain um how chakra was going to work in the show, and they did it in an extremely basic way that can be understood by any watcher, and I think that it was funny too, the way that he was reciting it, and then it cuts back out of that little cut, and then Naruto's like, what, you're just reading from the scroll. I thought you knew all that. You tricked me. And it's like just a
Mhm.
little subtle. It's just cute. I love that. It's just the character of Naruto. Just as a show, that's just like the character of it. And that is retained throughout. And um, oh gosh, I think his first name, Masashi Kishimoto. Um, I think that he just does a great job of um telling a story. I think that there's not a lot of time wasted. I think that Naruto gets a super bad rap for having like a ton of filler. And it's not great in places where there's filler, there is a ton of it. But if you strip all that away and you watch Naruto for what it is, or you read the manga, the story is just unparalleled. And that's honestly maybe a hot take. Don't really care. I love this series. I love a lot of other anime. This one just over the course of 720 episodes minus the filler, whatever that is.
Woo.
Um, I think just does a great job of telling the story of Naruto, of his life and what he goes through, and it's extremely relatable in a world that's not feasible for us. So, I really like that. I'm excited to see where you guys go and like watching Naruto, if you really enjoy it, and what your predictions will be, and who you end up liking, because everybody kind of, varies, and you get more character introduction later on and stuff like that, obviously. So um there's a character coming up in the next batch. If you're going to be watching along with us, there's a character coming up in the next batch that is really a lot of people just love this person. And they they're great character design too. And I want you guys to hear that and then go into this next batch and look for this person, and then let's talk about who gave you that impression, because it could be
Mm,
multiple people.
Ooh, okay.
So
that's a
who's
good
the
one to
person
do.
who really
Yeah.
stuck out and you just wanted more of?
Hey, could I just say
Yeah,
real quick to
go ahead.
capitalize on what you're saying about how good the story is? I was speaking on the phone to a friend of all of ours named Lance earlier today, who mentioned I told him that we're recording the podcast tonight. He's gonna follow along and stay up to date. He said that by the end of this series, he had the same kind of take on where the story went as Breaking Bad, which to me is absolutely an insane thing to say, because that's one of the greatest shows that's ever been created with one of the greatest arcs ever. So if that's true, I don't even know what to say.
I will say
I
that.
don't
Go ahead.
fully believe it,
Okay.
but we'll see. We'll see. 'Cause
So
that's a big claim.
there may be some nostalgia speaking in there,
Okay. Okay.
but maybe, but it's impossible for me or Lance to say.
Hmm.
Because we're forever tainted because we grew up with it. But I will say that there's just things, and just the attention to detail that anime holds in general I just adore. I love that they take the time. And no, I don't like the Dragon Ball Z like quintessential like full episode to like take 2 minutes out of like actual information. But I do love that they take the time to be like, here's what this person was thinking, here's why they did this or whatever. I think Hunter x Hunter does it a ton where the narrator, I mean, basically, there are sections of episodes where it's just the narrator explaining why someone did something and showing you them doing it for 15 minutes. And that's
Leave
like
it out.
75% of the episode.
Leave it
Now,
out.
but it's extremely progressive, meaning like it is so story driven. And I would say once if you did watch it, you would feel the opposite way because it avoids all of the like I like them talking to each other being like and I did this because blah blah blah. And it's like, well, that's not realistic. Like they would just be fighting, you know. But point being, I just really appreciate the attention to detail that he takes in the show, in the series, all the way to the end. There's stuff that is recalled back from the beginning, that ties in, that I'm watching now, even now in the first 5 episodes, and being like, did he know? Did he know that he was going to be recalling this?
Oh,
Or
wow.
was it just circumstantial when he was like, that would be a great story? Or did he know? And I mean, we won't know,
Huh.
but it's an extremely
Wow.
interesting and if nothing else, respectful storytelling just because of not crossing over yourself. So, and that's a lot of content to not cross over yourself. So he's very committed to the story. It has to be. There's no way you can pump out something that has that much content and that long. I mean, the manga alone was 500 chapters. Now, I should clarify the manga, there's Naruto. That's it. And then there is Naruto, the show, and then there's Naruto Shippuden, which those two anime comprise the entire manga, I don't know,
Okay.
of Naruto. So there's 500 chapters, and then that takes up, you know, they took that to 720, with filler included. So pretty long. So yeah, I think we're just looking forward at this point now, right?
I think so. I was going to give a quick prediction that with Sasuke's storyline, he does seem to have a Pokeball on the back of his like jacket thing. So my prediction is that he may become a Pokemon master. He also mentions that he's an Avenger, so he might become a part of the Avengers. But those are all the predictions and details that I have left. So
I love that. Yeah, we're gonna see all the Pokemon come out soon. Great crossover.
I mean, it makes sense with the shadow clones. I mean, it's very similar to an agility
Mm.
move from Pikachu,
there you go.
where he's just like surrounding that Charizard.
Yeah,
You know,
just a mirage. Um, well, great, dude. I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about it. And it's tough to even record this one because it's like we're not even in it yet. We've not really started. We are just in the introduction. So
it's a perfect
be there
time
next
for
week.
everyone else to join us too.
Yeah. If you're just watching this, if you've never watched Naruto before, but you've heard about it, this is going to be a great companion to watch the show with because it's going to be digestible. It's going to answer some questions. It's going to just give you people to talk to about it. We want you to contact us or whatever and give us questions, talking points, whatever interests you. We want to hear that. So go ahead and tell us. If you've watched Naruto before and you want to rewatch it again and just kind of give your own thoughts, then great. But don't come in here having only watched a little bit of Naruto or watched Naruto once 10 years ago and refuse to watch it along with us, but want to comment. That's where I'm going to put my foot down. Watch it with us. It's going to be a blast. It's a long haul, but we're in for it. We get right into some great stuff. I'm looking ahead on the schedule. We get into some great arcs that really fly by. I mean, Naruto is a series. It feels like you get through those first 5 seasons, which is all the canon, in no time. So, see you there.